All right, now that it's 6 o'clock, I'd like to call to order the March 10th, 2026 Town of Van Buren Zoning and Planning Board meeting. Can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do a roll call, please.
Mr. Sykes. Here. Ms. McMahon. Here. Mr. Roman.
Here.
Mr. Bose.
Here.
Mr. Virginia.
Here.
Mr. Budash.
Here.
Mr. Schauderbach.
All right. So the February 10th, 2026 meeting minutes were sent digitally. I don't believe we received any comments. Does anybody have any comments on the meeting minutes from last month? Hearing no comments, Chair entertain a motion to approve the February 10th, 2026 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Approved. All right, the first item on the agenda, Alex Town, 1775 Warners Road, tax ID number 049.0-01-05.1. This is for an area variance. Chair entertain a motion to exit the general session and enter into a public hearing.
Move.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor? Against? Let it be known that we are now in a public hearing. Give your name and address, please.
Alex Town, 1775 Warners Road, Memphis, New York, 13112.
Can I have you,
Let's get up on the board so they can.
put a copy? Yeah, you got it. All right, thank you. All right. Could you please just explain what you're looking to do?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to put a barn over here down. There's a sliver of the field that kind of comes in. And it basically is going to be give or take 120 feet off the road to the front corner. I'm going to put a driveway in there so I can get back to it.
Okay. And this is at the corner of Warner's and Easthead Creek Road, correct?
Yes.
Could you tell the audience how big the barn is?
50 by 80.
Thank you.
Then the use of the barn would be for?
Personal storage, RV equipment, cars.
Okay. All right. I entertain any comments from is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this application? Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak for or against this application? Hearing no comments, Chair entertain a motion to leave the public hearing and enter back into general session for Alex Town, 1775 Warners Road, tax ID number 049.01-05.1.
So move.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Let it be known we're back in general session. Give your name and address again, please.
Alex Town, 1775 Warners Road, Memphis, New York, 13112.
Okay. Does the board have any other comments regarding this application?
They'll have to get a driveway permit through the highway superintendent.
Any other comments? So you can work through codes to get that, and then you can get a permit for the driveway access off of Easthead Creek Road.
Okay.
All right, hearing no other comments, Chair is going to read a resolution as follows. Alex Town of 1775 Warner's Road has applied for area variance relief from section 200-45 of the Town of Van Buren zoning code to allow the placement of a detached accessory storage structure in the location with 69.25 feet of front yard setback distance, and to allow the accessory storage structure measuring 80 feet by 50 feet to have a mean height of 23 feet. Property identified as tax map number 049.01-05.1 is located in the rural hamlet zoning district at the intersection of Warner's Road and Eaststead Creek Road. Access to the accessory detached structure is by means of Eaststead Creek Road. Pursuant to the zoning code, because a corner parcel has two lot lines with a line of the public street right away, it has two front lot lines. In accordance with section 200-45 of the zoning code, the existing building line is the front yard setback for the detached accessory structure, and an accessory structure is limited to 15 feet in height, which is measured by the vertical distance from the average elevation of the finished grade surrounding the building to the average height between the ridge and the eaves for gable, hip, pitched, or gambrel roofs. Applicant seeks variance relief to allow the placement of the detached accessory structure with a front yard setback of 69.25 feet instead of the required setback of 189.25 feet, and to construct an accessory structure with a mean height of 23 feet, 8 feet higher than the 15 feet height that is permitted. In support of the application, applicant submitted an application for variance for the placement of the structure in the front yard and the building height dated December 26, 2025. Building elevations and details prepared by Rod Vanderwater, Architect PC, dated December 23, 2025, consisting of sheets 1 through 5 and a turning point land survey prepared by R.J. Lighton Jr., licensed land surveyor, dated February 1st, 2025, altered to reflect the proposed improvements. A public hearing on the height variance application was held on March 10th, 2026, at a public hearing on the variance. Public hearing was on the height variance application was held on March 10, 2026, and a public hearing on the variance application to allow the placement of an accessory structure within the front yard was held on March 10, 2026. Is that really supposed to be February because we opened, Nadine?
No, you had a public hearing on the height variance on
February.
10th.
It is supposed to be February 10th.
And you closed it. But then
Yes.
you have your, and it's not front yard, it's front yard.
Yep. This
That was today.
Yep. So it is supposed to be February, March.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
The applicant appeared at the public hearing to address the area variance criteria and the concerns of the board. Based upon the foregoing, the board resolves as follows. This matter is a type 2 under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, as it involves the granting of an area variance related to a detached accessory structure for a single-family residential use. 2, it is determined that the requested variance relief will not produce any undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood and will not be a detriment to nearby properties. Variance relief to allow the placement of the accessory structure in the front yard and increase the building height of the accessory structure will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. Neighbors did not express any opposition to the variance. There is no apparent method to achieve the benefit of the applicant wishes to obtain other than the variance, and the benefit to the applicant does outweigh any detriment to the neighborhood or community because of granting the variance relief. 3, the requested area variance relief is hereby granted to allow the placement of the detached accessory structure in a location with 69.25 feet of front yard setback distance and to increase the structure's mean height to 23 feet in accordance with the building elevations and details prepared by Rod A. Vanderwater, Architect PC, dated December 23rd, 2025, consisting of sheets 1 through 5 for the property located at 1775 Warner's Road, tax map number 049-01-05.1.
So this next part, I wasn't sure about, but I know you do this in the past.
Yes.
Okay.
Condition,
This is a normal condition, but it wasn't specified this evening, but it.
appreciate it, yes.
Okay.
Condition upon the submission of an as-built survey to the code enforcement depicting the installed accessory detached structure. End of motion.
So we've got the front yard setback listed as 69.25 in here. The drawing shows 120. We want to change that?
I went based off what the application said.
Okay, but the drawing's what we're going to file. The drawing says
But-
120.
Do we have an updated drawing?
It looks like it's what he,
Because I didn't have in my materials.
I drew this after the last meeting.
he drew it himself. It's not by the surveyor.
Yeah.
He's modified it, but it
Okay.
shows 120.
And that's the intent is 120?
Yeah.
Okay, then I would change that.
Yeah.
I just went off of what.
No, agree. I think we need to change it.
So that would be the motion as amended. And I'll make that change when I file it with your clerk.
So moved.
Second. As amended.
Thank you. All right, hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Budash?
Yes.
Mr. Virginia?
Yes.
Mr. Bose? Jamie?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mr. Sykes?
Yes.
Mrs. McMahon?
Yes.
All right, so it's approved. We just ask that you obviously get the highway permit or the driveway permit from codes and the highway department, but also that once the building is built, that you get a surveyor out there to shoot the points of the building to, so we can have an exact location on file.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
We'll share. I don't get see. No, this is the best. Oh, you didn't choose that.
All right, the next item on the agenda, George McNabb, 7714 Morgan Road, tax ID number 029.04-01.0. This is for an area variance. Chair entertain a motion to exit general session and enter into a public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor? Against? Let it be known we are now in public hearing. Can you give your name and address, please?
George McNabb, 7714 Morgan Road, Owensville, New York, 13027.
Can you just give a brief summary of what you're looking to do and why you're in front of us?
I'd like to keep my existing
Can you
shed.
put them up on the board so the
I'd like
audience
to
can
keep
see
my
them?
existing shed. It's located in front of my house in that location.
And this is a shed that's been there
It's been there since I purchased the home.
since you purchased the home. It's a 8x8.
8x8, didn't need a permit when they put it in.
And the shed actually matches the log cabin feel of
It
the
does.
house itself.
Yeah, it's identical to the house, just a smaller scale.
Okay.
It's not an eyesore. No, it's made out of logs. It's impossible to move without breaking it.
Just for the audience's purpose, that you were working with the DEC,
Yeah, it was brought to everybody's attention because of the DEC.
that you have to, that you're in the floodplain, so you have to create drainage.
You have to put the little holes in it so it doesn't float down Morgan Road.
And that's been taken care of?
It's good.
Thank you.
And isn't the leach field in the backyard?
It is.
That's
These
right.
are all reasons why it's
Yes.
limiting where
Yeah.
you can locate the shed.
Okay. Is anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this application? Is there anyone, and I ask again, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against this applicant? To entertain a motion to leave public hearing and enter back into general session.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor? Against? Let it be known, we are now back into general session for George McNabb, 7714 Morgan Road, tax map ID number 029.04-01.0. Can you just give your name and address again, please?
George McNabb, 7714 Morgan Road, Baldwinsville, New York, 13027.
Okay. Anybody have any additional comments regarding this application? So this is actually an 8x10?
The front shed?
Yeah, the front shed?
No, it's 8 by 8.
Because the survey shows it as 8x10.
Well, when you walk in, it's definitely,
Okay.
For the eaves.
Yeah, all right.
there's a like a little platform, square footage is 8 by 8. You step down up a little ramp. It looks like a small house.
Yeah, no, understood. I appreciate the photos that you've taken and note that there's no sight distance issues. It does generally fit with the context of the property and the neighborhood. So unless the board have any other comments regarding this application, I'll go ahead and read the following resolution. George B. and Angeline McNabb of 7714 Morgan Road have applied for area variance relief from section 200-45 of the Town of Van Buren zoning code to allow the placement of a detached accessory storage structure in a location with 18.4 plus or minus feet of front yard setback distance. The property identified as tax map number 049.01-05.1 is located in the residential R20 zoning district. Pursuant to section 20-45 of the zoning code, the existing building line is a front yard setback for a detached accessory structure. Applicants seek variance relief to allow the placement of the detached accessory structure in the front yard with a setback of 18.44 plus or minus feet instead of the required setback of 41.46 plus or minus feet. In support of their request, applicants cited the presence of on-site wetlands and an existing leach field as the obstacles effectively preventing the relocation of the storage structure. In support of the application, applicants submitted an application for variance for the placement of the structure in the front yard dated January 27, 2026. An aerial and Google Maps survey on part of lot number 14, known as number 7714 Morgan Road, prepared by JRL Land Surveying PLLC, dated May 27, 2021. A public hearing on the variance application was held March 10, 2026. The applicants appeared at the public hearing to address the area variance criteria and the concerns of the board. Based upon the foregoing, the board resolved as follows. This matter is a type 2 under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, as it involves the granting of an area variance related to a detached accessory structure for a single-family residential use. 2, it is determined that the requested variance relief will not produce any undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood and will not be a detriment to the nearby properties. Variance relief to allow the placement of the accessory structure in the front yard will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical, environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. Neighbors did not express any opposition to the variance. There is No apparent method to achieve the benefit the applicant wish to obtain other than a variance, and the benefit to the applicant does outweigh any detriment to the neighborhood or community because of the granting of the variance relief. 3, the requested area variance relief is hereby granted to allow the placement of the detached accessory structure in a location with 18.44 plus or minus feet of front yard setback distance as is depicted on the location survey on part of lot number 14 known as number 7714 Morgan Road, prepared by JRL Land Surveying PLLC, dated May 27, 2021, to the property located at 1775 Warner's Road, tax map number 049.01-05.1. End of resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Budash?
Yes.
Mr. Virginia?
Yes.
Mr. Bose?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mr. Sykes?
Yes.
Mrs. McMahon?
Yes.
Approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Don't move that shit.
I'm not moving it.
No, I'm good. I'll get one after this next one.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to. Hold on for 1 second. Hold on, get it.
An explosion.
Yeah, spill on that.
This is totally wrong.
Corrections for the concrete.
Thank you. Just usually yeah, it's a good to grab some paper towels.
This is why you don't drink at meetings. Earlier he said electronically.
This is a packet. Okay. I was gonna say with these extras to hand out.
I did that on purpose so you can catch up with the notes and stuff.
Stall tech, yeah.
So, okay. Yeah. I know. That's a piece of it. Well, I would get you in.
2.5, we go like 3.0 liters. Yes, they do.
All right, next item on the agenda, I apologize. Simple Roast Coffee, 2265 Downer Street, tax map ID number 034-04-06.1. Chair entertain a motion to exit general session and enter into a public hearing.
Sorry.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor? Against? Let it be known we are now in public hearing. Your name and address, please?
Matt Pearson, 157 Golden Rock Lane, Warner's, New York, 13164.
So this is for a site plan and special use permit for Simple Roast Coffee.
Correct.
Can you just give a brief summary of what you're looking to do and what your plans are?
Yep, so we are looking to put a drive-through location in the Tops parking lot. Building's about 400 square feet. Drive-through only, employees only inside. Looking to serve coffee to customers in the Waldenville area.
Hours of operation?
7 days a week, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
And this is located, just for the public, for that don't understand what the map is showing, can you just explain where that is in the Tops parking lot?
Yep, this is the Tops gas station right here. That's Tops over here, and we're going to be just on the other side of this drive lane in the empty space in the Thrifty Shopper parking lot.
All right. I'd like to ask the audience, is there anybody in the audience that'd like to speak for or against this application?
I'm for it. Thank you. I'm sure you're worried everybody was here for me tonight.
Does anybody else want to speak for or against this application?
Did you bring samples?
No samples tonight.
I haven't even got a sample yet. All right, hearing no other comments, thank you, sir. Chair entertain a motion to exit the public hearing and enter back into general session for Simple Roast Coffee, 2265 Downer Street, tax map ID number 034-04-06.1.
Moved.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Let it be known we are now back in general session. Your name and address again, please?
Matthew Pearson, 157 Goldenrod Lane, Warners, New York, 13164.
Okay, so the last meeting we had, we provided some comments. A plan that we reviewed previously as part of the pre-agenda meeting showed basically a slip line curb on the top of the existing asphalt. I think you came to the same conclusion as we did, that that's just not sustainable
Yes.
in this climate with snow removal and plow usage. So you've added a detail here for a full depth curb, which looks to be set in a concrete footer with surrounding sub-base material. And then within that island, you're looking to put riverstone, is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
And Jess, I guess for the rest of the board, what is the sizes of the material you're looking to put in there?
1 to 3 inch, leaning towards 3 inch.
All right. There were some concerns with the capacity of the stormwater and the sewer, or at least the sewer and the water through there. Have we got that resolved?
Yes, so we just got confirmation from WEP on Friday. The capacity assurance letter was issued and sent out. I don't have it in hand yet because it just takes a little bit to get paperwork done, I guess. But we were well below the threshold and they were happy with that. So I believe that that was also added to the drawing. So there's a note on there for it as well.
And I think there was also, and I apologize that I'm asking these questions. That the lighting for the business is going to be basically utilizing the existing lamps that are in the parking lot, but also have some downward facing building pocket lights.
Right, yes. And I think it was mentioned that the lights in the plaza were out.
Yes, but that's been resolved.
Or has remedied that.
Yes,
Yep, that was
thank
a
you.
timer issue and a couple flaws.
Yep, all good. We knew that wasn't your issue. We were trying to get to make sure that, if you are going to utilize it, that you're going to have that type of light to be able to use it. Then there's also a submitted letter on February 11th that the drainage patterns for the existing basically sheet flow into the closed drainage system on the parking lot will not be impeded by the proposed development.
Correct. Yep.
All right, so I think the only item that really remains, and it's really a discussion point for the whole board here, so the island that you show, which would be immediately adjacent to the Tops gas station so your island, I believe, is 6 feet in width, is that correct?
6 feet by 300.
Right, yeah, 161 foot long. So there were questions on the size of this island, and I guess I want to bring that discussion up with the board here. That is there any concern with the size of this island based on past discussions We wanted to have the island for safety and protection of the building face from almost thoroughfare traffic, if you would, traveling through that parking lot in between the gas station and this proposed development. There were hints at the possibility of requiring the whole entire area to be curbed in on the west side of the proposed development. Is there any concern by the board, other board members, with the size of the island as shown? At least with the board members that are here.
Don't throw them under the bus like that.
How much exposure will the face of the curb be above the grade of the asphalt? 6 inches, 8 inches?
6 inches is my understanding, yep.
Yeah, sure, 6 inches on
6 inches, and I believe it has a beveled face, a beveled top to it. So the actual width, I believe, is it an 8-inch curb width?
So, yeah, so it
With a
shows
7-inch flat, and then you got a beveled 1-inch.
8 inch.
Yes.
Yep.
It's a little hard to read the dimensions.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, my magnifying.
So the remaining part of that, what you would call this island, is going to be striped with pavement markings.
Yes.
Is there as we continue to think about this curved island, is there, these paint markings are going to have to be refreshed?
Oh yeah, we do that
At
standard
times.
practice at our current location. We do that every single summer, either seal and stripe, or we just stripe depending on the
Awesome.
state of the park.
Okay,
So,
good. And then the parking that you do have along the north and south areas of this development, you're going to use the parking style concrete
yes, the wheel stops.
wheel stops. Yep. And you are not going to, just for clarification, there is no walk-up
Correct.
access to this service.
Yes, as practice at our current locations, we should turn away walk-up service, even if you
Try to
allow
walk
yourself
up.
to try and stand in line, we won't serve. So, they'll end up setting with other town boards.
So I'll speak. So I think a lot of us wanted to maybe see some green space. I think that was very idealistic. I think from stormwater catch basin perspective, obviously an investment perspective, this is not your parking lot. So I think it's a good compromise. I think at least my concern was better traffic flow so that people are not just cutting through this area and actually using the dedicated lanes. I mean, I've driven through here and almost gotten hit, right? So I think this sort of does that. I think it's a decent compromise. I think we kind of asked for, the world, right? Yeah, the Cadillac, and we got the, I don't know, VW, but yeah. So I mean, I'm happy with the compromise. I think it's a bit more. You still have the planters and the limestone on the one side, right, which I think give a nice visual as well. So I think we got there, right? It took us a couple meetings, but I think we got there.
Why is there no planters? Why didn't you put any planters in the island?
We certainly can. We weren't sure if that was going to become an issue, essentially fitting them on the river rock. So we can always add more, but I didn't want to put in anything that was going to be a deterrent. Kind of the discussion was kind of around curbing, and so we put it in there, but.
Yeah, I know we went back and forth on using the planters as the curbing there, and that got out since the asphalt's in. I love this.
Yeah, listen, I'll put as many planters.
So, I mean, that's just going to be such a stark area since it's 8 feet wide. It would be nice to put a few, some greenery in there.
So you're saying within the curb lines?
Yeah.
Of that island?
Yep.
Easy enough.
Is that gonna hinder any motorist view because of that stop sign coming out there, looking back toward Tops?
I mean, we wouldn't put them super close to there anyways for that reason. We kind of learned our lesson on, people being.
Yeah, you'll have to draw them back a little.
We could set them in more so that by the time their field of view it's in their field of view, it's smaller. See, so-
Like it.
Yeah, I would say you're probably 25 feet, I would say you want to be inside of that curb line.
Okay. Yeah.
Any other comments from the board? Any concerns, operational?
The ADA, did we figure out this required an ADA space? I don't see it.
Since there's no walk-up, I would say no.
Even for employees?
It's under the state requirement of
It is?
600
Okay.
square feet.
Okay, did we vet that with the codes officer?
Both had an answer to that in one of our
They did?
previous
I thought the
Okay.
last meeting we talked about it, I can't recall.
Yeah, I can't either.
I would have to look back at the meeting minutes.
Okay, well, if you've already researched it, then we'll trust you.
Yeah, and furthermore, the architect research. But
Yeah.
sure.
That's. Okay. I'm gonna quickly do seeker here. Nadine, can you remind me, my environmental non-experience, what type of seeker this?
Unlisted action.
Thank you. The board does declare itself lead agency proceeding on an uncoordinated review. This matter is an unlisted action, and after reviewing the short environmental assessment form, does hereby render a negative declaration, finding there are no adverse environmental impacts to be realized. End of motion.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Chair entertain a motion to approve the site plan for Simple Roast Coffee at 2265 Downer Street, Onondaga County, New York. Tax map ID number 034-04-06.1 as shown on the stamped and signed drawings C1, C2, and C3 dated March 9th, 2026. With the condition that planters being included in the western curved 6-foot island, no more than 25 feet at the nearest point to the exit of the property at the stop sign. End of motion.
So moved.
Condition on the web letter as well.
Oh, and also, sorry, and condition of the receiving the letter from WAP for the capacity of the sanitary sewer.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Carried.
Chair, who made that motion? Was it Roger?
And I seconded.
Roger
Yeah, I got
and
you.
Jesse.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Special permit. Want me to do that one?
Yes, please, thank you.
All right, we're gonna win this one.
Love it when she does this.
You ready? Matthew Pearson as Simple Rose Coffee seeks a special use permit to operate a drive-through coffee shop in accordance with section 200-80-C5 of the Town of Van Buren zoning code on property located at 2265 Downer Street Road. Tax map parcel number 034.04-06.1. The property is in the general business zoning district. In support of its request for a special use permit, the applicant submitted an application for a special use permit a site plan narrative, permission from the River Mall Shopping Center owner, drainage letter from RZ Engineering PLC, lighting dated February 10, 2026, lighting letter from RZ Engineering PLC dated February 10, 2026, letter of intent and community commitment from Matthew Pearson dated January 16, 2026. Simple Rose modular plans dated February 5, 2026, sheets G-000, A-100, A-200, A-201, A-400, prepared by JF Architect. And, and plans prepared by RZ Engineering PLC dated February 9, 2026, consisting of sheets C-1, C-2, C-3, demo and, never mind, scratch that. I'm just gonna do it all here. As well as a short environmental assessment form. The applicant appeared at the public hearing to describe his proposal to locate a drive-through coffee shop at the River Mall, within the River Mall parking lot. With the board discussed concerns such as drainage, traffic flow, lighting, landscaping, and sewer capacity. The applicant was able to address the concerns of the board. And the applications, were these referred to the county plan?
I thought we did previously.
It was their first
And I
meeting.
think we got comments back. It was like after the first
Do we
meeting.
need to, are there comments that we need to address? Okay. The application was duly referred to the Onondaga County Planning Board pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 239. Upon submissions of the applicant and proof taken at the public hearing, the board resolves that the proposed use is specifically permitted under the Town of Van Buren zoning code. Upon issuance of a special use permit, the board determines, number 2, the board determines that A, as proposed, the use is allowed by special use permit and the use is in compliance with the applicable intent and regulations of the code. B, the proposed use is located on a general business zone parcel and is consistent with the long-term development objectives of the area. Property is serviced by all necessary utilities and is compatible in size and character to existing land uses in the immediate area. C, the scale and design of the use is in compliance with town requirements and will be visually compatible with conditions of the site and surrounding property. D, vehicle and pedestrian circulation for the drive-through coffee shop will be safe and sufficient within the site and in relationship to Downer Street Road. E, the use is designed and shall be operated in a manner that minimizes off-site disturbance of natural and cultural resources. F, the nature and intensity of operations will not be more objectionable to surrounding properties than those of expressly permitted use in the district. G, the use and proposed design of the building and site facilities for the use are appropriate in the proposed location and have incorporated reasonable efforts to harmonize with surrounding uses and mitigate any adverse impacts on surrounding uses. H, the cumulative impacts of the use in the proposed location will not unreasonably interfere with or diminish the continued use, preservation, stability, value, enjoyment, prosperity, or growth of the neighborhood or community. I, as evidenced by, strike that. The use will not unreasonably increase traffic congestion or safety hazards or impose traffic volumes on a roadway which is of sufficient width and design. J, as designed, the property has sufficient vehicular access, egress, internal circulation, and provision of services without adversely affecting the flow of traffic on abutting streets. K, appropriate landscaping and buffering will be maintained. And L, the Waste disposal will be contained, avoiding any unsightly impacts and the discharge of hazardous materials to the surface drainage system. The special use permit to allow for use of the property for a drive-through coffee shop is hereby granted in accordance with section 200-80C5 of the zoning code. Are there any conditions for special permit? Any hour limitations? Okay.
Nope.
And that's it. Sorry, that was like that's what happens when you do it on the fly.
I enjoy every time you do that. Do you need the dates of that Onondaga County?
Yes, if you have them, that'd be great.
It's, the meeting date was 1/28/26. And the comments were addressed.
Okay, thank you.
Did you call out the RZ engineering plans as February 9th?
No,
No.
because he's provided updated ones
Okay.
for March 9th.
You called out March 9th?
I did.
Okay.
But the original, the elevation views
I thought I
were
heard
done by the
February.
architect in
Okay.
February.
So others were February?
Yeah, that's the architect ones. Yeah.
They were February 5th.
Yeah, no, I thought I heard,
said-
I thought I heard February 9th for the RZ. We're good.
If I did, I misspoke. Because I know there's the March ones.
You're good. And a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Budash,
Yes.
Mr. Virginia,
Yes.
Mr. Bose,
Yes.
Mr. Robin,
Yes.
Mr. Sykes.
Yes.
Ms. McMahon.
Yes.
Approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the time and the effort.
Excited.
Thank you, everybody.
If you could just add those planters to the site plan and just have it turned into code so we can put that in file. Thank you.
Thank you.
All pink. And then once you get that letter also, send that to code. Thank you. No, I did, yeah. All right. That's great. This is good. Real world. Next item on the agenda. Where did he go?
So, Mr. Chairman, Al sent me a text that he's got a family emergency, he just ran out of here. So he asked that the public hearing be opened and adjourned until the next meeting where he can present.
Okay. Chair entertain a motion to leave the general session and enter into a public hearing for Harbor Heights small parcel Downer Street tax map ID number 036.03-21.0.
So moved.
Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor? Aye. Against? Let it be known we are now in a public hearing. Should we just move on at that point, or what?
I think I would, although I'm sure there are people here who would like to speak, typically with the public hearing, you first have the applicant present the proposal, go over what is being proposed, outline some things, because some of what is presented, some of what's presented may address some of the concerns of people who are present. So I would acknowledge on the record that the representative for the applicant, due to a family emergency, had to leave unexpectedly. And so while the public hearing has been opened, no comments are going to be received, but the public hearing will be adjourned until the meeting in April.
Can I give a brief overview and see if we can get comments, or is this not? I just don't want to waste everybody's time coming in today. If they have general comments about it, we could at least document general comments.
Certainly. Recognizing, if you offer comments, that they may or may not be applicable based upon whatever Mr. Yeager was going to say.
So just kind of a quick synopsis. There's a proposal for a 21 lot subdivision on the corner of Comain Road and Downer Street Road, which I'm sure everyone's familiar with. This lot will be built in 2 phases. The first phase being on the western edge of the property, which would include lots 1, 2, 3, 4, 20, and 21. So 6 lots and a stormwater management area, which is in the western corner of the development. And then the second phase will be the remaining 15 lots, which will be heading to the east, and that will be determined by future wetland permitting that the DEC is looking to approve, that may or may not adjust the required offsets from wetlands for the development. That's my brief and synopsis. Does anybody have any general comments that would like to at least get on the record now? But as our attorney mentioned, this meeting will be held. We keep open until our April meeting, which at that point you'll have the same ability to speak, for or against this applicant and have any questions. If you have any questions, if you could please just go up there.
I need the microphone. You speak pretty loud.
Just name and address,
Paul Schmidt, 23 Comain Road. I was here to figure out, just to see, I saw the drawings online today, so three main concerns is how that water management is going to work, if it's going to be the stagnant type of thing, the traffic at Comain, and then the protection for the lane people. So those are the things I was here to find out about. So hopefully those will be addressed in the next meeting.
We'll make sure that any of these comments that we do receive tonight get pushed on to the applicant for purpose of the next meeting.
All right.
Anyone else?
I'll get up there. I haven't got a lot of voice.
No, we're gonna need you to use the mic then.
Not today, anyway. All right, Janet Rasbeck.
You can take it off, Janet, if you want.
I don't want to take it out. Janet Rasbeck, 24 Comain Road. I ditto what Paul said. My question also is, we were told at one point that they were going to leave space between Leonard and, tree, green, whatever. It looks like they're getting 1 tree a backyard, and that's it. And I don't see how that's what they said. How can you, and I'm just gonna put these out here, you can do what you want with them.
Yep.
How can you approve a subdivision when they don't know where the wetlands, be it 100 feet versus the 25 feet? That's the question. And then the drainage easements on the other side, I think it's east side, these.
Yep, east side.
Those are on private property, I believe. And if that is, how do you get that to happen? So that's all I have. I mean, everybody knows I don't want this, so it's not that big of whatever, but I don't see how this is gonna work. It's still more houses than we wanted. That's all.
Appreciate your comments. Just for clarification, and the only one I'm going to respond to is that this approval of this subdivision is only for the first phase. It is not for the second phase. So until we get answers on the wetland, there will be no discussion or approval on the second phase. Name and address?
Tim Morgan, 11 Lanyard Lane. I just had a couple of things. One of them is the safety issue of going off of Comain. You guys got to address that. I understand he doesn't want to put a road out in there because that's a lot. That makes sense, but that's a lot of traffic coming off of Comain, and it is not safe. They did clean it all out today. You got almost the whole 11.8 done, and there's not a lot left staying there really. And that's okay, that's his property, who he wants with it, but we have to look at it. And the other thing I'm worried about is the water. I don't know, that's not a watershed back there. There's a lot of underground streams. And there was a lake there 2 days ago. It is now about a foot underneath the ground. I just wonder about that, what do you call it, the water table? That water table, where's that water going to go? That's a big concern. And neighbors on Lanyard want to know also that the magical swale that's going to go in, how far off that right of way off the wires is that going to be? Because those lots on Lanyard are real, not narrow, they're just not deep. So that looks like those people are going to have maybe a 20-foot backyard. I don't know, but that's a big concern. People say, we don't have water issues right now. There already are water issues on Main Lane. If you drive it, you can see the water going across the street, at least 2 places, sometimes 3. And one of them is just standing there. It's right in the sewer down by 3 or 5. It's the sewer that's supposed to be draining. If the water is above it, it's just sitting in the street. There's water problems there that have to be addressed.
Appreciate it.
That's all.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm Sharon Stack. We live on 1 Lane. Here, this water containment, our yard 2 days ago was like a huge pond because of the water draining from the snow coming from the backwoods, which are no longer there. And we're concerned that our yard and our house is going to flood with all this. I don't know what this, we need answers on what this storm water containment is, how it's going to be handled. And like the other gentleman said, we have one huge oak tree and a couple of small trees left from the woods. And they had said there was going to be 10 to 15 feet of a buffer. And I don't know if they're going to put it in after. We just have a lot of questions.
Understood.
And it's not just our house, the house next door to us has drainage problems, so that's 1, 3, I know 5, and you have.
I'm dry right now.
You're dry?
I don't want to be dry.
Okay, and I know the people across from us, they're pumping out their basement right now with the hose, and that's on the other side of Lanyard, so they just have to address this big water problem. And I mean, you drive down the road and you can just see the water sitting there.
Thank you.
I'm Andy Stack, also at 1 Lanyard Lane. You got a double header here tonight. This is in 2 phases now?
Yeah.
1 through, say this numbers again?
So you can see there's a red line on that drawing. So
Red line on this drawing.
cutting across where the gray is, that's going to be the first, yes. So you got phases, so you got the bottom 4 lots there on the southern, yep.
This one here. So
Yep,
these
and
4 lots.
then the 2 lots up north plus that stormwater management, that's phase 1.
Okay, so that's probably gonna get done in 2026?
I can't speak towards that.
It's approved. Is it approved?
Nothing's approved at this point.
Oh, nothing's approved? Okay, so then once this gets done, then this whole rest of it, I guess, is the words I'm looking for, that hasn't been approved either.
Nothing's been approved at this point.
Okay. The biggest issue I have is water. What in God's green earth, my grandfather told me 100 years ago, he's got a water problem, it's gotta go someplace. Where is it going? And I've been to every meeting here but 1, and I haven't got a definitive answer from anybody. We need an answer. W-A-T-E-R. Where is it going? That's all I gotta say. Thank you, gentlemen.
My name is Bob Sapiesco. I live at 2075 Delmer Street on the extreme east end of this project. I have a question. I spoke with the people who are clearing land right now. Their instructions are to clear everything. Now, there's a proposed wetlands that's next to my property. Why is all of that being removed? All of the trees? If it's a wetlands, and it's according to DEC, whatever is there remains there. Okay?
Understood. I can't speak for what the applicant's done. I didn't even know they've had it cleared yet, because I haven't been past that property yet, so I
Another
can't.
issue is that they're showing a wetlands, okay, to the west of my property line. And they're showing a 25-foot buffer. According to the DEC, that 25-foot buffer is now going to be on my property. I had a gentleman trespass the other day that came down, and was measuring. I have a walnut tree, and I also have a shed that I have approval from this town to have located, and that gentleman told me that that had to be moved because it's in that 25-foot buffer, and that my walnut tree may be cut down. Now, the interesting thing was, he didn't identify himself, okay? But all I can say is, all right, I talked to him from a long distance, and he didn't have a doggone insulin pump on his hip. And he kept putting his hand on the hip all the time when he was talking to me. And he just walked off.
Understood. I can't.
Okay? So I guess my question is, and all the other people should ask, how much trespassing is going to go on before this project is done? By people just walking on there. Okay?
Go ahead.
It's okay. No, I was just going to say, this is for public comment. We want to hear your concerns. We want to hear what the problems are. But please recognize, this is for subdivision approval. So concerns like a trespass, even granting subdivision approval of whatever configuration it may be, would not allow trespass, obviously. That's a whole separate issue that I would recommend you either bring to local law enforcement or speak to an attorney about. But that's not something, obviously, that this board is going to grant any kind of approval for, but they also don't have any jurisdiction over it too. But I would certainly speak to the appropriate authorities, sir, if I were you about that. But unfortunately, that's not something this board has any control over.
Okay.
Then just to kind of, does anybody else have any comments, I guess, at this point?
He opened up a can of worms. He opened up another can of worms.
Could you state your name and address again, please?
All right. Andy Stack again, 1 Lanyard Lane. When they were knocking down the trees, I sat out back. I got videos on my phone of what they were doing. They had a machine that went way up on top of the tree and went down and stripped all the branches. The branches, guys and gals, went flying. I got branches in my backyard. They are going to have to, using that gentleman's word, trespass on my property to go pick up branches that they created. And I'm sure they didn't do it intentionally, but they did it. They're still sitting there, and they're gonna have to walk on my property to go get them. And that needs to be addressed as well. That's something I never even thought of until that gentleman brought it up. So, and there's a lot of them. And I have a huge, what is that again, oak tree? We have a huge oak tree. And I have no idea what machinery they're gonna bring in to take that thing down, because you're not stripping that thing down. You're gonna have to start at the bottom and hope it falls towards 31. But they have a lot of work yet to do. And I gotta get my deed out, because I do think they've already come on my property to knock down a lot of these trees. And like I said, when they stripped down the branches, they went flying. Some of them even ended up in the road. And their car's going by. And somebody didn't think this too far ahead. The safety, and there's a safety concern for that.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, John Goffin, 13 Lanyard Lane. Although some of these issues don't apply to the subdivision, it does give you an idea of the character of the company that's building these houses. And if you can't trust what they've said, you can't trust the plan.
Thank you. Any other comments at this time?
Yeah, I was worried about the grading off of Down Street, but now I don't think it's that big a deal.
So, as mentioned, this public hearing is going to stay open. The applicant should be back in front of us next month. In April, we will do what we can to bring some of these issues to the applicant, but as our attorney mentioned, only thing in front of us right now is the subdivision approval. We haven't even started looking at site plan, stormwater, drainage, and all that stuff. They claim that their stormwater management facilities are designed for the sizing, but right now, we're only here to approve the subdivision of phase 1, which is those 6 lots on the western end of the property. So that's all I want to leave that with you guys tonight. You're more than welcome to please attend in April, where the applicant will be back, but we'll try to get these comments in front of them, and maybe they'll have some answers coming into the next meeting. So, Chair, entertain a motion to leave this public hearing open.
I think we got more people who want to speak.
Is there other people?
Why don't you know what the date was in April?
April 14th.
April 14th.
Thank you.
14th.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, Chair, entertain a motion to keep this public hearing open for Harbor Heights Small Parcel Downer Street Tax Map ID number 036.03-21.0 for until our April 14th, 2026 meeting. Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor? Against? Public hearing will remain open.
Chair, who was the second?
It was Claude.
Claude and Roger?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mass exodus.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda is, and I apologize, Ania Patel? Ania Patel, 7363 State Fair Boulevard, tax ID number 064-01-23.0 or .1. This is for a site plan. Give your name and address, please. Please use the mic.
Certainly. Pat Reynolds with IMUZ and Roman Plan Surveying at 5251 Witts Drive, North Syracuse. And I'm here representing this application. Okay, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
So, as I mentioned, I'm here to represent this application. The applicant is seeking site plan approval to open a liquor store at 7363 State Fair Boulevard. Sorry for the site has an existing 4,000 square foot masonry building with 2 fuel islands, 8 pumps, and an overhead canopy. The existing gas station and convenience store will remain, and then the proposed liquor store will be an additional use. The convenience store currently utilizes 2,600 square feet of this existing building, and the remaining 1,500 square feet will be used for the proposed liquor store. These uses will run independent. There will not be any access from the convenience store into the liquor store. So as part of that, they will be adding a new entrance to the front of the store here. With this site plan, they would also like to install a new 4x8 internally lit sign, which would be proposed above the entrance. And they're also, there's some existing garage doors around the back of the building that they're going to close off. Finally, what we're proposing, the last thing would be restriping the pavement up front to include an accessible parking space. With that, as far as like the sign design, that isn't something we have yet. we were holding off on getting architecturals of what the front facade of the building would look like. They have currently, they got an application in with the state to get a liquor license, and that process is still, I believe it was 26 weeks, up to 26 weeks to get an answer. We just wanted to get in front of the board, kind of get a communication going and see what type of stuff it is you might be looking for from us, what we can do, so that when they get approval, we can kind of hit the ground running.
Okay. I think the biggest thing that, everything that you mentioned regarding, signage, some elevation views, all that stuff is going to be needed for ultimate site plan approval and everything. This is going to have to be referred to the county for review as part of the process. So we'll have to go to a public hearing. So there's multiple steps that are going to have to be done over the next several months to get through this. I think the biggest item that I see as part of this application is parking. There's on your sheet 2 of 2 here, I know you look to be addressing some of the parking requirements, and I haven't got a good answer yet. I have to speak to Codes, who's unfortunately is not here tonight, about what the code requires regarding parking for both the convenience store and the liquor store. You mentioned that the total space required is 20. I need to confirm that, but you mentioned that there's a total of 19 spaces, including the one accessible space that is proposed. I'm not sure where you're coming up with that number and how you got to 19.
Yep.
We looked back at the files back from 2021 when this property was subdivided off from Lou's Car Care.
Yep.
To get an idea of why the property line is where it is, how parking was being dealt with, seeing if there was anything within the approvals back in 21 regarding parking for the convenience store and the gas station, as it is today. It doesn't look like there was anything addressed regarding the parking lot, or if there was a access agreement, I guess, with Lou Car Care for any overflow parking from this proposed lot, or this lot that it is today. So I guess, can you speak a little more about how you came up with the 19 spots, so I could just get a general idea of what your thought process is here?
Yeah, certainly. So I don't have the breakdown in front of me, but I know one of the things is each pump, if I'm not mistaken, was 1 to 1.5 parking spaces. So the pump spaces were included in that count as far as how we came up with that number.
Okay.
Now,
I see that now.
Since we had the application submitted, the applicant had spoken with Lou about either, what we could do about maybe a shared parking agreement. And where he's not interested in opening up shared parking for customers, they do have around the backside of the building asphalt that is on their property that could be accessed through Lou's lot. And Lou's had expressed a willingness to grant us access through that, so that if we wanted to put employee parking around the back of the building, we could fit 2 spaces in back there.
Okay.
And just before the meeting, when speaking with the applicant, they had mentioned if parking is going to be a concern, we could start looking to see about putting some parking along where the dumpsters are, and then moving the dumpsters into a different location. That's really something I would have to kind of look at and see dimensional wise what's going to fit there. I think if we could get that 20 number, that is more than enough parking. It's more parking spaces than they feel that they need for the convenience store.
Yeah, we just gotta compare it to what code calls for both a liquor store and a convenience store. And as you mentioned, they're kind of operating as a separate entity, even though they're gonna be staged in in existing building footprint. I question the validity of using using the pumps as parking spaces. I mean, I usually wanna, bump into somebody's car when they sit there and park their car when I'm trying to get gas and they're in there trying to get coffee and, but, if the code, like I said, I would talk to our codes officer, if the code allows for that and there's standard practice for that, I obviously will, agree to that. But I think ultimately, you mentioned parking is gonna be the concern, and the best way we can fit parking on the site, that meets the code, we should be good to go. But there's still a lot of steps that have to be done here. But I think the glaring initial steps would be looking at that parking. And I speak for myself, and other board members probably have some other comments here in regards to this. You mentioned Lou's hesitancy about a shared customer agreement parking. Has he mentioned any concerns with a person's natural reaction if they can't find parking in front of the liquor store? They're gonna, travel over to Lou's lot and just park wherever they want and kind of walk over. Has he expressed any concerns about?
He did not express any concerns about that. The conversation was brief with him on it.
That's fine.
His main concern was if he granted permission for the parking and then something happened, what his liability.
Oh yeah, understood. Completely understand. Okay. Been kind of hogging the conversation. Does anybody on the board have any questions at the moment?
Well, when you talk more parking, you gotta make more room for the snow removal too. I mean, where are you gonna stack that, especially in a winter like we just had?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll look into that.
Lighting, you kind of call out some lighting on here, and it looks like it's all existing. Looks like flood style lights and wall packs that are out there. You're not assuming that there's going to be any additional lighting?
We're not proposing any new lighting for this use. Just aside from the illuminated sign out front.
Yep. Okay. And I would just say that, any signs, once you get into looking at the sizing of the signs, both on the building and possibly in the front, that it, if that meets code regarding, the square footage of the front of the building. If not, we'll have to look at a variance for the sign too. So, we just recommend that you meet the code for the sign sizes. And you mentioned the dumpster locations. Is there going to be a need for any additional dumpsters for this?
I don't believe there's going to be an additional need for expanded capacity. I mean, they've already got 2 full dumpsters there.
And right now, this part of this building is not being used as a convenience. It's just for storage. Is that correct?
That is my understanding.
Okay. You're gonna need something for cardboard.
I'm assuming they have cardboard for the convenience store.
You already have 2 garbages, like 2 big garbages, cardboard and...
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, because the liquor store generates a ton of cardboard. My buddy owns one.
Yeah, so it's always empty, half empty.
Okay.
Any other comments at this moment?
Just wondering about loading and unloading. Where would parking space be for that? If there is a separate one, or, would use the existing parking that's there or the new parking that you have proposed?
So, I I guess that would be my fault for loading and unloading. I assumed it would happen after hours. I will confirm, see what kind of schedule they have, and see what we can work out as far as a loading zone.
I'm assuming you got the same situation with the convenience store, and most convenience stores, I drive by them, they're being unloaded right when people are, there, whether it's a Pepsi truck or a beer truck, they're usually there during hours of the business, so it's just something
Yeah, I
to pay
guess you don't
attention
really
to.
pick your hours on that.
The way we set up is like early morning or like not the busy hours. So we never had any issue, and it's just like twice a delivery for the beer and no Pepsi at all in the store. So just the Coke delivery.
I saw a Pepsi truck this morning, that's the only reason I referenced Pepsi at that moment, so, and then I got a Mountain Dew in front of me, so.
First thing in the morning, like 5:30, and they'll be done in like,
Okay.
yeah, so.
Just another use of the space that, you kind of got to think when you're laying out the site, obviously, so. Any other comments at this moment? Obviously, there's going to be some more discussion on this as more material comes in. All right, is there any other questions you have for us at the moment?
So the first question, I know we're kind of going back and forth on, is as far as the liquor license approval goes, being that could take up to 26 weeks, I wasn't sure if site plan approval would have to wait on that.
I think the bigger question is, with liquor board authority, don't they have very specific questions on the space and what's allowed and where it is and how things, how much information do you need for the application?
So they have their application completed, submitted. I wasn't part of the, that's all over my head as far as, that was submitted. They had a floor plan drawn up showing where the storage area is going to be, and I believe that was submitted with our application. And apparently that was enough to satisfy the application.
They haven't asked for, they being the liquor board, they haven't asked for anything additional, or do you not know if you're at that point yet?
I don't believe they're at that point yet.
Okay.
As far as the application being submitted was, do you remember, sorry?
The date?
Yeah, that you submitted the application?
Maybe 25th. Oh, sorry. February 25th.
February 25th.
The reason I ask, and I will confess, it's above my pay grade too. I haven't done any liquor license applications, and especially not for something like a liquor store. But I know for businesses that have like the sale of liquor, or if they're like microbrews and things like that, when there's changes to site plan, when there's anything like that, the liquor board is always made aware for a number of reasons. So I would want to make sure that whatever that process is, I don't know if you need site plan approval before you can complete your liquor board. I'm not sure if the cart or the horse, which is coming first. And I'm not sure which is which.
So we actually had kind of the same discussion when we originally met with them. We weren't sure if the site plan approval would be needed to get the liquor license or vice versa. So we really just wanted to get the application in. They have their application in, and I know they are working with an attorney to kind of go through that process. And unfortunately, I haven't gotten any word yet for anything that the licensing board would be requiring from us as far as site plan approval.
Well, I could speak that it's my understanding that we wouldn't need your approval on the liquor license to approve the site plan. I mean, it's kind of more so on the applicant to be like, okay, we think we're going to get this, and then you're still going to go through the effort of putting together what we're going to require for the site plan, even though you haven't got your liquor license approved, which I'm similar to Nadine, as I've never really dealt with a liquor license, but from people that I've talked to, there was a thought of you needed to know what your inventory was gonna be to be able to do that. Maybe that's all taken care of, and it's kind of out of our jurisdiction anyway, but just being said that we can move forward with all this stuff as you bring it in. We can go through the process we need to, and then when you get your, liquor license, then you'll get your, occupancy from the codes and stuff like that, and, that'll be beyond what our board would need to have for this.
I suspect they're going to need some kind of site plan land use approvals before they get their approval from the liquor board, just in other circumstances. Like I said, I haven't dealt specifically with a liquor store, but I've dealt with the liquor board in general. And so the chairman's correct. We don't need it for our approval, the liquor board authority, but I suspect they're going to need something from us.
Okay. Then I guess we'll move forward with addressing some of these comments. We'll get the architectural drawings and signs at the time and.
If you have any questions in the meantime, please, reach out to the codes office. They should be able to answer any questions. Once you have all your materials together, submit it by the deadlines that are required, and you could be on the, whatever month you're ready to go on, we can get you on the agenda. We'll have to, as I said, once we get the majority of the information, we can then send it down to county review. But we want to make sure that we have enough information to send down there that they can review it. And then we'll also have, we'll have a public hearing for this one. The timing of the submission to the county and this 239 review don't always align with our schedule. So, we could submit something right after a meeting and then ends up getting pushed out for 2 meetings because all our meetings don't jive all the time. So just keep that in mind. But please talk to the codes office if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda, John Horrigan, 7470 Perry Road, tax ID number 043.02-29.0. This is for a subdivision. Name and address, please, sir.
Bud Reed, 7695 Canton Street, Baldwinsville.
Do tell.
Okay, we have 56 acres. We're looking to create 3 lots. We have an issue with having 2 houses too close together. We did find where the wells were, we did find where the septic system, where the general area of the septic systems are, which was one of the questions she had last time. They're shown on the map there. We have a problem with the driveway. We went out and did site distances and found that we came to the driveway in lot 1. We had the county follow up and said the same thing. We've had 2 different people look at this. So what we're suggesting is that we want to make a 20-foot ingress-egress easement, a permanent one, going up through lot number 3 to get into lot 1. Basically just to the north of the house. And that's on an existing drive that's there.
Okay. So there is lot access to 2 also. Right now, there's an existing driveway to lot 2.
Yeah, it's basically right in the road.
Yeah, okay.
Because the driveway's right on the edge.
Right bumped up to the house there. Yep.
Yep. but it is there.
Okay.
Sure wouldn't park my car there, but there's one there.
Okay. Anything else before I start
I don't think
my
so.
dissertation? Okay. I guess a big question here is, you know, by forming 3 lots here, lot 3 becomes basically a non-conforming lot. Has there been any discussion with your client about moving that northern property line further north to make that?
Lot 3?
Yes, I'm expanding, sorry. Lot 3's northern property line further up into lot 1 to make that lot a little more.
He didn't want to do that because it's being farmed, and
All the way up to the road there?
yeah, there's a natural, I'll call it a swale that goes up through there, right along the line we have there. And we didn't want to have to go over that. Two reasons there.
So, and that's all fine and good, but, you know, obviously there's gonna be, you know, with this approval and with this review, there's gonna be, you know, we're gonna have to look into, you know, whether or not this, you know, meets the requirements of the code and why, you know, why we can't make this a conforming lot when it's all said and done through the subdivision process, so.
Yeah, you're gonna be looking at a lot of variances here.
Well,
They're all
that's-
self-created.
Exactly.
Which was discussed last meeting.
Right, and you came back with the same map.
Other than the ingress egress easement.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all we can do.
Well, you gotta move the line.
You willing to move the line?
I think it has to be I think there needs to be a further discussion with the applicant that, you know, if we're gonna create 3 lots here, we have to do a better job of making lot 3 a little less obtrusive to the variances that we're gonna need, you know, for that lot when it's all said and done. I understand that it's being farmed right now, but, lot 3 is, especially with this easement going through there now too, it even makes it even worse, when it's all said and done. So I think there needs to be some further discussion with your client on what we can do to move that at least someplace further north here.
So you want to make it fit the code?
At least get close, at least meet us halfway here to, you know, make some adjustments here to get it at least close enough that we're not just throwing out variances when we know there's plenty of space to the north here. If he wants to, you know, if they want to get this subdivision, we'd like to, you know, get as far north as possible without completely damaging his, you know, his farming, obviously. But lot 3 is quite small.
Well, and remember, when you apply for any area variance relief, one of the criteria is that you have to show that you're asking for the minimum relief necessary. And when you own all the surrounding property, that becomes a very difficult thing to demonstrate. There's the 5 balancing criteria, right? Whether it's de minimis, whether it's the minimum relief necessary, whether it's a self-created hardship, those are all things that are part of those 5 criteria. So when you have a proposal like this, because right now, if you look at this, for example, for lot 3, not only do you need just area variances to create a lot of this size, but you also have to have area variances for the structures that are on that.
Right, that was all discussed.
I know, I'm just saying, so that's why, like, there's a lot there. And you say it was all discussed, and I appreciate that, but what's been submitted is like essentially the same plan, but we haven't received area variance applications in support of everything. And to demonstrate that criteria that you have the burden of proving, that's very difficult, and there's case law when you have all the surrounding property to demonstrate that.
The only thing I have to say is it would have been nice to know last meeting, so that we could discuss it.
Which part, sir?
The part coming in that you'd like to have this moved to make a full lot. When I left, my understanding was the variances, you were going to write them up, that there was not an issue. That was my understanding.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. What was going to be written up? What do you mean by that?
The variances that were brought up at the first meeting.
They would need, we need an application before anything can be done. So there needs to be an application submitted with the variances that are asked for with, I'm sorry.
I understand, Nadine. It would have been nice to have us know that, or if we were told that at the meeting. That's where I have a problem.
We did discuss moving that north line further
We talked
north.
about demolishing
Yeah, it
the
was
house.
discussed.
We talked about demolishing the house. You didn't want to demolish the house, so we told you you needed to move the line.
And after the pre-agenda meeting, there was discussion about all the concerns, and the chairman didn't want to put it on the agenda because of all the concerns. And if I'm understanding the situation correctly, this was still submitted with the insistence of, no, we want to come to the planning board. So it's been raised at least a couple times, the concerns with these plans. I think it's a little disingenuous to say that we thought if we came in with this, everything would be fine.
The planning board meeting you just mentioned, are you talking the pre-meeting?
Yes, the one that we had last Tuesday, and afterwards there was follow-up with you about what was needed. And it's understood that you still wanted, because the chairman wasn't going, because we have a very full agenda, and with all the issues that remained with the proposal, and the issues that still needed to be addressed, it's understood that the engineer reached out with those concerns, and it was, no, we still want to appear. So you were made aware of concerns. And we can't act, I mean, when you say it was all going to be put together, I don't know how that would just happen in the absence of applications and public hearings and everything else.
Didn't know about the applications, number one, as far as for the change on the variances. Like I said, my understanding at the meeting was you were asked to write up the variances. I figured, okay, that's it. When Jason called me from the pre-meeting, which I would have liked to have attended, I couldn't. I could have addressed it and been ready this evening. But that didn't happen.
But Doug, you've been doing this a very long, Doug, you've done this a very long time. You know area variances require an application.
That I don't, because I don't usually get into the variances.
If you
I don't
prepare,
really have that problem.
if you create a lot that doesn't comply with zoning, it requires an area variance.
Okay, why didn't somebody say that to me? Again, I understand what you're saying, Nadine.
We said this was an illegal lot last time, Doug. So that right there clues you in that it's going to need a variance, and they talked about the variances. We talked about, would you consider demolishing the house? The applicant didn't want to consider that. So we said, all right, you're going to have to move the line.
You should.
So I tend to, and the town attorney doesn't work for you. She doesn't create the variances. That's on you.
Okay.
And to show the burden of proof. So there was a lot of questions that had came out of that last meeting. You were going to go back to your client, talk about the house, talk about moving this, how we're going to get driveway access, how we're going to access lot 1, whether this gravel driveway suits the access for lot 1 or not, with or without an easement. We came into the pre-agenda meeting, we saw all this. At first, we weren't even going to have this on there. We had Jason obviously reached out to you. I saw some of the emails, a summary of what the discussions were. For any expectations that something was going to get approved tonight is beyond, we just can't do that. Variances have to be applied to, as the attorney said, and we have to review every single variance on that lot to whether or not they can be, that these variants cannot be achieved, or the variances are needed because you can't achieve the need to meet code for this lot. So, we're saying right now, I mean, we can't drive the ship for you or your applicant, but we can, we've given our comments, we've mentioned our hesitancy with this lot 3. We've had discussion about, this used to be a 2-lot subdivision. We've got to a point that now that we're at 3 lots, this is gonna have to, I believe, go to county referral because it's 3 lots? No, it's still under the simple subdivision?
The threshold, correct.
Thank you. But we're gonna have to have a public hearing. So that's the next step.
Even for the subdivision, you need a public hearing.
I thought that's what we were here for tonight.
No.
Okay.
No. That's something that will have to be advertised. We can schedule a public hearing for next meeting. But, with that being said, if there's a chance that there's going to be variances on there, I would like to do it all at one public hearing. So we're not doing 2 public hearings when it's all said and done. That's all I would ask. I mean, if you want me to schedule a public hearing and you think we're going to be at a place within the next 3 weeks, before the next information needs to be submitted to be on the next agenda, I'm okay with scheduling a public hearing, but this public hearing is going to address subdivision and it's going to address any variances needed for that lot. I guess that's as simple as I can put it.
Okay.
I'm just going to give you my thoughts. I mean, there's 42 and a half acres on lot 1. When you look at the 5 criteria for the variance, there's plenty of land here to make that a legal lot, and I think that's what you need to do. Because I don't think I can vote for that as a legal lot when you've got all this other acreage. Now, I understand you're going to lose some farmland, but there's other options too. You can remove that second house so you don't have this 2 dwellings on one parcel. So there's other options here too. The question is, which is the best palatable option for your client?
Is the land to the north common ownership?
Yeah.
Entirely different parcel I'm talking about now.
You're talking over here.
Correct.
Yes.
And is there any interest or has there been any consideration of combining those lots where then there's not, for example, the need for the access easement to lot 1?
We hadn't considered it.
How much land would have
That's
to
what I wrote.
be added to that lot to make it conforming?
1.2 approximately.
1.2 acres.
2 acres is the minimum lot size of that area.
Say again?
2 acres is the minimum lot size.
You got 0.8 now. You need 1.2 more. That's what you need.
I'm not sure if, I'd have to look and refer to code here, but you might not be able to get away with having at least 1 variance.
There's at least 2 there.
Yeah, then at least 2. So I mean, there's at least, we got to go through a variance process no matter what here, because if you're not gonna, you can't move lot line 2, the lot line between 3 and 2. So there's at least 2 variances, as you mentioned, here.
And a front yard.
Right, front yard and the side yard.
2 side yards.
Right. So then we're now looking at lot coverage and lot size as the other variances. So,
Okay.
if you need, the criteria for variances and proof of variances, we can get you the information. Codes has that, the criteria that needs to be met. But like I said, I guess I refer back to you if you want us to set up a public hearing for the next meeting.
Yes.
All right. Chair entertain a motion to schedule a public hearing. For John Horrigan, 7470 Perry Road, tax ID number 043.02-29.0 for a subdivision and potential area variances needed for the property scheduled for the next April meeting on April 14th, 2026. End of motion.
So moved.
Second. Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Scheduled. So you'll be scheduled on the next meeting, but please address the area variances so we can take care of all this at once. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
No problem, no.
All right, last item on the agenda.
So it turns out the
Rolex Living Community LLC, Kriego Road, tax ID number 034-03-01.1. This is for a zone change.
Yes, those are cuts. Can you pull them over?
Yeah, there's a newer version. The smaller version is the newer version. So everybody on the board, there's a smaller version of that bigger sheet that has some changes to it. Brandon will address what those changes are, just some parking areas and stuff like that. But just so you know that the small version has some minor edits.
I got all my counts on here.
Did you
All right, name and address, please.
Jacobson, 5912 North Burdick Street, East Acres, New York.
All right, welcome back.
Appreciate you having me. So after a lot of hard work, a long time, I'm hoping that we've got a plan that the planning board likes. I know that through further discussion with the town board, the density has dropped significantly since the last time we came in front of the planning board, where the density was approved by the planning board, so I'm hoping that's not going to be an issue. Really on the single family side of this project, as we've always kind of broken it up into two sections, the single family side has not really changed much, maybe if any, since a little over a year ago when we were here. The significant change is the multifamily. So originally we had some apartments, we had some townhomes, now we have all townhomes. We came with a couple different concepts, town board didn't like them, so we listened, and now we're here with a product that we hope that the board, the planning board both like, as we are eager landowners to try to get this project off the ground. Questions, concerns? I got a feeling, if you don't mind, hold on 1 second, just because I know some of the changes we've made.
Yep.
So this has gone to a public road, which originally I think we had as a private. I know some of Claude's comments and some of the other board members' comments were driveway cuts. As you can see, we've limited a lot of the driveway cuts. Like for example, on building 5, we only have 2. Yes, these have multiple driveway cuts, but we flipped the building, so these are kind of one cut here. Again, and then we've added some of these small parking areas, as we call it bank parking, even though each townhome has over a 30-foot, actually 40-foot long driveway, which would allow for 2 cars. But we figure we're gonna need some of these spots for snow storage. So if they are used for, call it bonus parking or snow storage, if we had a winter like this, we're gonna need it. So that's why we came up with some of those areas. We're still able to stay out of the SHPO, maintain the park space. And like I said, we're really proud of where this has come, and we think this is a great plan, and hopefully that we can get some comments so that we can try to, address some of those concerns. I think after this, I'll also go down to the turning lane, which is the big tripwire I think we all had over a year ago, that we're happy to say that we've gotten direction on that from the Walgreens and the private landowner. So,
well, let's touch on that quickly, then we'll get into any questions. Let's touch on the Walgreens intersection.
Okay. Okay. So, if I guess give everybody a little background. So, after we did the traffic study, roughly a little over a year ago, we were going to need a turning lane with a stoplight, or excuse me, a turning light, which is an extension of the stoplight that's already there. And it was kind of a two-piece takeaway, right? Because the Walgreens is actually a land lease. So there's a private owner, a gentleman named Robert Servino out of New Jersey, who I was able to meet, very cooperative. He's agreed to sell myself, which will then be deeded back to partially the county and the town, because of course only in this project could it have to be this difficult, that half of Kriego Road is actually county and half of it's town. So he agreed to sell it, but we needed consent from Walgreens, which was really hard because Walgreens is having some corporate shifting, but we were able to get a decision maker out of Texas. She wrote a letter from the president that allowed us to basically say, yes, they will not void his lease, they'll keep his lease. Because he obviously didn't want to lose his, void his land lease with Walgreens, so we were able to achieve that. One other little edit that we did was part of one thing that's come up is a construction easement, because we're gonna need something, obviously a staging area. Rolex will not be doing this type of work. I'll be putting this out to bid, a lot, especially the municipal stuff. This is over above my scope. So this was something that brought to my attention, and so this is what our basic proposal to him is. He has out for appraisal right now. I should have that back in another week or so, that I can then purchase the land and then get into what I would call, the deeding of how that has to go. Nadine, my attorney, have been in contact. We figured out it's a fee simple deed. That's what she's requested. That's what we'll do. And that's where we're at.
Does Walgreens lose any parking because of that staging?
No.
Okay.
And again, the state, it's really difficult to do a construction easement, because what happens if a guy walks over here, so this is basically a proposal to Walgreens that, hey, we're gonna be working there, we're gonna try to do as fast as possible, we're trying to get it done, but it's not a perfect science. I think they understand that. One of Walgreens' requirements to us was any damage, anything that had to be done with their sign, we had to take responsibility for, which we did, and obviously, that would be fair to them.
So yeah, I agree 110%. You're going to need a temporary easement for, or we want to call it a construction easement, whatever you want to call it. The only thing I could say that the next steps would be is at least having some sort of draft agreement in place with Walgreens that basically everything you just said in writing, to basically say if somebody, if you damage X, Y, or Z, the existing backside curb or whatever it may be, or somebody's car or, whatever, we need the agreement, at least a draft agreement in place. Doesn't have to be signed, doesn't have to be fully executed, but somehow it needs to be recognized by both parties that this is the agreement that's going to be in place to turn over or deed this property over to you guys, and then ultimately to the town and the county to move this forward.
So again, I think we have a draft from them basically saying their cooperation. The first step, because their cooperation was to Robert Servino. Robert Servino now is going to then make me entitled, okay? And then, so then I can actually, what I would call it, get a written agreement with Walgreens and Robert. We have all what I would call the basic parameters. All the questions you're asked is 100, which took me 6 months to get answers on, was to Walgreens, which was, how are you going to do work? What happens if you damage it? So all these things are, I think, from 5,000 feet are in place. I would think 100% part of any condition, we're going to have to sign an agreement before we can ever take title. It's just that they're not going to allow that without it.
Understood, but we're going to also need to have that, see that draft agreement.
Have you seen the original one?
If I have, I can't recall it at this very moment.
I circulated that with the town board. They have the letter from Walgreens, because that was part of my requirement to get back to you guys.
But is that just a letter or an email coming from them? It's not an actual agreement?
No, it's not an actual agreement. It's just it basically states in the email, in the, what we call it, the base conversation with the Walgreens representative, is that these are the items like you spoke about that have to be handled. And I can get, we can start to work on the next phase of getting a permanent agreement in place.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We need some sort of written agreement here that, everything's outlined. So, like I said, it doesn't have to be fully executed, because I know that takes time. But we need to get all this documented into one place that we can look at, we can review, our town's attorney can review, and make sure that we're good to go.
But let me just, and I'm not trying to be smart or anything like that. I'm just thinking this one out loud. Walgreens to you and I really is irrelevant, because they're the tenant. It's really Robert Servino. Well, if he wants to butcher his lease, that's he's entitled to do so. I'm just doing this, I knew he would never want to do that. So if Robert gives me, or Brolex, the ability to work on his property, that's really, in my mind, all the town and myself need, because that's a private matter between Robert and Walgreens. Do you agree with that?
I 100% agree with that. Okay. But we still, there's some sort of a written agreement that whether it's, then take Walgreens out of it.
Yes.
And it's between you and this gentleman.
Correct.
That needs to be drafted.
Agreed.
That's what I'm saying.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay. overall, I kind of want to hit this right up front here before we start getting into, comments and stuff like that. We're starting this process completely over. You understand that whatever we approved 2 years ago or a year ago or whatever it was before when we originally had the PUD approved and it went to the top, all that stuff is now null and void. So we are going to start we are starting this process over from scratch. Yes, there's probably a lot of carryover that can be carried back into this approval, but it all needs to be put back together and presented to this board to meet the requirements of section 200-33 of the code. All those 22 items that we walked through before, we have to re-walk through all that stuff. And what we are asking is that you guys, with your engineers, with your landscape architects, with your architects, and whoever it may be, get all this information together and get it in front of us in one package. Because I do not want to sit here month by month for the next X amount of months and have to look at little bits and pieces, and then we have to take the time to tie it all together. We need you guys to package this all up. We're going to provide some comments and then look at all those 22 different things that we did before and package it all up so we can have one large review package to look at it all, and we can cross all the T's, dot all the I's to get all through this. So we're not wasting your time, we're not wasting the public's time, we're not wasting our time in doing this. Because the last time we did this, everything was piecemeal, a little bit here, a little bit there, things changed, If it takes, whatever time it takes for you and your architect and engineers to do it, that's when we need it to come back in front of us, okay?
I think just on those 22 items, I don't believe any of them would have changed as far as the impact of the project. I'm just thinking out loud. I mean, I'm sure the town has, I have all the copies of it. You just need to resubmit it all, even though.
I need somebody to present it back to this board in context of what this new layout is. And like I said, half of it could be exactly the same, but it needs to be represented because we are starting from scratch. And that package, I'm going to take that package just like I did before, and I'm going to present it back to the town board just like we did before. And I have to have my ducks in a row. This board has to have our ducks in a row. I just don't want to waste everybody's time, doing it. So I want to make sure you guys are fully aware of all the items you need to address.
Fully aware of them.
Okay. So, regarding this site plan, overarching, looking at it, I think it's a good layout. I think it actually addressed I think you hinted at it, addressed some of our concerns with density and the apartments that you had on the northern end of this. The townhomes are much better than these apartments. There's some opportunity here. There's obviously a town parcel that's landlocked at the triangle. There's potential for parkland to go there. Could there be some agreement between the town and your development to get access to that? Of course. Something we can work through here, because there is an opportunity here, and I know the town is going through revising their comprehensive plan, and a lot of that's this green space, this parkland, this trail system, all of that's part of the conversation. This is a good opportunity here to work with you as you develop this and gain access to that lot for whatever needs in the future. Topo survey. You have topo out here, right? We're going to need all of that shown on the site plan. We're going to need to look at drainage like we did before. We're going to look at your stormwater, making sure that's sized correctly. The engineering in regards to the capacity for sanitary, for water. You've done the crux of it all already.
So we'll get into one back.
There's going to be some tweaking that needs to be done. I'm just trying to kind of hit on some.
I would just to get back on it, because we had a lot of practice with this, for better term. I'm already working on the for the pump station. Okay, there's an existing pump station at the back of Tops. I knew it goes to the village, but we are exploring that. Okay, it makes for a lot less. I know Claude's shaking his head, doesn't like it. I don't know why.
It's not just me. The people on Tappan Street almost didn't allow that to go into the village from Tops, because I was superintendent then. Yeah. And so I don't think
But
If they think there's not sufficient capacity, they might be right.
But doesn't the
I mean,
county,
the
does the
Tappan
county
Street
own it now,
line.
or does that back when the town, doesn't the county have all the sewers now?
Yes, but it pumps through the village. It's transported through the village.
But whose responsibility is to take care of that? Is that now the village's responsibility, or is it the county's?
It's flowing through a village main on Tappan Street,
Understood.
and the county has taken over the town's sewer. So indirectly, the county's handling it, but it still goes through the village.
Understood.
And I don't think the village fathers are gonna want any more, especially a development this size, push through there.
Okay. And if they don't, they don't. I just, from my side, so from a developer standpoint, I'm already exploring it because it's an enormously big savings, as well as a lot easier, a lot disruptive. I mean, it allows for a lot less work down at the corner, which I think is advantageous for the town and myself, because we're not moving as much sanitary down there all the way down the other side of Downer Street. So I totally appreciate it, but I think my due diligence, I have to do it that way.
You can check it out. I'm not saying you can't check it out,
And
but
I think the town should encourage it, because I think it's less invasive. I mean, you're talking about way less construction down at that intersection.
Yeah, I would explore all your options. And we can't.
But my point is, Ryan, is we're already doing this.
Yeah,
We're already making, I've already engaged the engineer. We will have, obviously, we've already got the capacity and stuff from BLEP. We've done all that in the past, and obviously the density's less, so it's not gonna be an issue anymore, or was. And then going forward, I understand we will have full engineering drawings that we should have hopefully in the next month with stormwater. And again, the way the plan is, it hasn't changed a tremendous amount. The road layout's almost identical. So I think we could try to get this package back to you guys for next month. If you don't mind, if you could just circulate, I mean, I think I have it, but just in case I'm missing something or something's changed, that 22-item checklist, so that I can get it totally out.
Section 200-33 of the code.
Okay.
It's all spelled out right there.
No problem.
I know the contract the village had with the town sewer district for the River Mall sewer pump station. The village had a requirement that if there's any capacity increases, had to be approved by the village. And when you take this size development to them, you can try it, but I don't think you're gonna get too far.
I mean, you're thinking they make you upsize the pump? Is that what you're saying they don't?
No, it's the capacity, the 8-inch line, 8-inch line on Tappan Street.
Okay. Again, yeah, Ed Reed's looking into it, he's talking to them, so I'll get you an answer one way or the other. I mean, obviously, if no is the answer, we gotta go the other direction.
My last item, before I open it up to the rest of the board here with their comments, you mentioned the traffic impact study. I understand the density's gone down since that time. The signals have gone in at the interchange of 690. That should be included in this traffic study. And whatever revisions to the density and stuff should be included in the revised traffic study.
Maybe update the accident criteria too.
Yeah, I don't know how late you were, I don't know how far you were off with the accident study, but you should have the most recent 3 years minimum, so.
I think what Gordon's was like 18 months ago. I think I looked at it the other day. I don't know if it's relevant, but we can get them to ask them to update it.
It's, how many accidents have happened since then, I don't know, but, we should that should be updated. It's a check the box for the file. So, that's my initial comments. Anybody else, please go ahead.
You're showing a lot of upland stormwater facilities, and when the topo's done, there's gonna have to be some revisions made. A lot of them.
We figured out how to bring stormwater uphill, you just don't know it.
Okay. So that's gonna probably make some changes to the overall plan. The other thing is that you've done a good job on eliminating driveway cuts, but buildings 5, 12, and 13, something's gotta be done with those. That's still 15 driveways on that public road. And I don't know if you can turn the buildings like you have and maybe get 4 of them in there. If you turn them and did like you did with 14, 15 on up through 20, 22, that same type layout, just turn them and that'll eliminate, you'll just have one driveway coming out for 2 buildings type thing, rather than multiple road cuts. Understand what I'm saying?
Fully understand, I'm just looking at it. So is there like a certain number of road cuts I'm not supposed to have, or is there like guidelines on that? And I'm kind of just throwing mud over here.
We've experienced this in other areas here in the town. Parking always ends up on the street, and it's a mess.
Understood.
And with a brand new development, we've got to do better planning that eliminates that.
And even if, I'm just looking, all right, let me play around with it. Obviously, there's going to be a couple tweaks anyways to the stormwater.
You know, you might have to shorten the size of the buildings up or something, but I think you can turn them and end up with just about the same number of units.
Yeah, we have done a study on the soil, so we get some great soils out of here, they're very permeable, so I know we're trying to go with no wet system on the storms, no wet ponds anywhere.
The other thing, you're showing a 30-foot storm easement down along 690 there, which goes across the town parcel.
Is that an existing easement?
Pardon me?
Is that an existing easement?
No, not to my knowledge, 30-foot storm easement.
Right here?
Yeah, is that a proposed one?
I'm assuming, yeah.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to do something with that if you don't own the parcel.
It might be a rollover too from the old, and it might not have been added in.
Very well maybe,
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
not
ask
sure.
Scott, it's a good catch, I didn't notice that.
In HOA responsibilities, are there gonna be two separate HOAs?
There's only gonna be one, because this is privately owned, these are rentals, this is public. So this will have a de minimis HOA like Traybrook does on the one side, stormwater only, because I'm assuming the town doesn't want to take care of the stormwater, it's my responsibility.
That's right.
So, that being said, this will just be a de minimis HOA. This is private, so this is ours, so there's no need for that.
So the town will need a draft of those documents. I mean, we did that with Traybrook as well. We'll need the entire, what your offering will be.
Yeah, sure, before we file it, you're saying?
Well, before they give approval.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got anything, Jamie? Bessie? Not to put everybody on the spot.
No, that's okay. I think most of my thoughts were addressed. I think it's better. I think there's still some areas that we're trying to squeak some things in that I don't agree with. Mark, you touched on a handful of things. I think, you know, if this is going to be phased construction, looking at how the ESC and the SWIP are going to be phased. Agree on access to the town parcel, doing the comprehensive plan. I like the trails that are here. I'd like to see more. I really would like to model almost like a Radisson with the trail system. I think that would be a positive. I think you're close, but would like to see more, but I think you addressed a lot of those concerns, so better.
Roger? Good. James?
No, I tend to agree. I'd love to see that walking trail come down along the stormwater easement and along the exterior of the buildings here on the west side.
I don't have any issue if the town wants us to go into their land, we're happy to, I mean, this we don't own this, but yeah, if you want me to.
Yeah, come down, yeah. I mean, if you can come to agreement and grab that parcel, then obviously it opens up a lot more amenities for those residents, but if you can, it'd be nice to just extend that parcel down your borderline there on the west and then behind 15, 14, 13, 12, and then looping back around by the national grid to connect it back into the park space that you have between 7 and 4.
Yeah, my only concern would be privacy issue for these people on the end, but we can get over here, I'm all for it. I mean, that'd be great. Try to loop it this way.
Well, I just kind of said.
But yeah, we can look at it, no problem.
And then, so that's gonna be completely private, so you're not gonna allow the residents over here to use those amenities? Okay, that was the only other question I had. And how are you gonna?
Try, but.
Yeah, how are you gonna police that? Good luck.
You're not.
Yeah.
We have 300 apartments throughout the county that this works, so.
Yeah.
But that being said, everybody be good neighbors, and it's okay. You know, I mean, I think it's one community. Yes, we might own it, but it's a community. So at the end of the day,
everybody's gotta get along.
everybody's gotta get along.
Yeah.
And, you know, and some people might be here at some point, or vice versa, so, you know, that's the idea.
So have you got any idea on how the phasing would go?
Very good idea. Yeah, so I already have a suitor for this, but it's not me building it, somebody else. This is a 4-year takedown maximum, but they're proposing 3, so it'll be 3-phase approach on the actual subdivision here. I've been doing this long enough. I already know I'm gonna need a loop road for fire, so there's no way around that. So obviously, as my goal, and then I'm just gonna get it out there, my goal is if I can get this thing off the blocks here at some point in the summertime, my goal is to have the municipal work done Q3, Q4 of 26. So to come Q1 of 27, site contractors can start, we can put this in, I can put phase 1 on, okay? And then this, after talking to our lender, would be a 2-phase approach. It's about somewhere around 100 units at a time. And that's good for our lender, that's good for us, it's good for our partner. So this basically, when we did our last community over in Cicero Loso, the clubhouse went last. I probably tried to start with at least getting the amenity in earlier this time, even though it doesn't make as much financial sense. But at least maybe have to start some here and kind of do it in between, because it's hard to tell people to move into a place that doesn't have all its amenities in place. You have to kind of do the amenities first. So that's one thing we learned.
Yeah, so we're just kind of roll on to Claude's, you know, especially that if you say that you have a great idea of how you're going to phase this, we want to see that phasing on here. Obviously, you want to make sure that the stormwater, the sewer, and all that stuff gels with how you're going to phase this thing. So that's going to be part of this review also.
Yeah, I'll just do a separate, like I did at Traybrook for the board the other day. I'll just do a phasing plan.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So just to add, if the board remembers with other plan districts that we've had, when this goes back to the town board, it's a very specific plan, right? And if there's changes to that, then they have to come back in the future and make changes. So for example, think of Marion Meadows. They have townhouses. Setbacks. All the setbacks for all the structures need to be on the plan, because if you then change them, that requires an amendment. So for example, with Marion Meadows, they had, I'm gonna make this up, I think it was like a 20-foot setback, and then they later determined for various reasons that the patios even had to be adjusted. So like patios were even shown as part of the plan because that impacted setbacks. So setbacks are needed on here, as well as if you guys think about the various plans that you've had, these appear, and maybe, I'll admit, it maybe my eyes are going bad, but it looks to me like it's just square footage for property, for lots. Those lots need to have, if you think about what you even just did with Harbor Heights, you were, you know, I think, I'm trying to remember, but it's like 90-foot deep, 40-foot wide. You need that kind of specificity on this plan. It's not, you can't just say it's a 21,000 square foot lot or whatever it may, I'm just making up numbers.
And again, I can get each lot maybe, but like for example.
It will need each lot.
Public Road 3, these are all 90-foot lots wide, and we can get you the dimensions on the depth, obviously they're identical, and so on and so forth.
They'll need all that. I'm just,
Yeah.
like I said, and it may be on here, and it may be my
It's not fully on there.
my increasing age and my lack of eyesight, but
You're on the
yeah.
top of your head.
I know, even then, they don't seem strong enough. They keep getting weaker. But that all needs to be very specific.
Individual lot dimensions.
Yeah, because that's going to be approved as part of the PUD. I mean, we need to approve what the setbacks are going to be, you know, the lot sizes, the frontage, all the stuff that, you know, that's going to be part of the approval of this PUD.
Because remember, with a planned district, you are saying we are doing away with any kind of underlying zoning, and we are creating our own, we are doing our own zoning entirely. And when you do away with the underlying zoning district, all those bulk area requirements are now being captured in this approval.
Yep.
So that needs to be done.
I think one thing that we learned too is because you've done Marion Meadows and the architect that I generally work with did those units, and I'm just talking to the town, I think, like I said, making these driveways longer, understood, I go to Marion Meadows, they're very shallow, there's tons of parking on the streets. So again, if you look at these, compare that, you don't just, if you like, use that as a, call it a benchmark. We've made these driveways longer, we've had more parking, we have main parking, and we have a ton more land, obviously, than, the community's not a great community, but I just think we've tried to take some of the shortfalls and learn from it from a developer standpoint and the town standpoint.
Mr. Chairman, you touched on it, but the county is requiring an updated traffic impact study.
Has that been shared with the client or with the applicant?
There's an email sent to him.
So it's not me asking for the updated traffic study, it's the county, so blame them. Call them tomorrow and blame them. Forget I said anything.
Can you talk about the intentions for lots A, B, and C? Is it just additional parking? Because A and B seem like they're kind of purposeful to the park on the private side.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
just additional parking? Is it?
Yeah, so basically we had like this, if you look at the old plan from, I think, this was just, there's nothing there. And to us, it was like, okay, I'm just sensitive to this from being in the multifamily business, having this winter that we had. So I said, when I was talking to my landscape architect, I said, we need some spots where not only there's extra parking, extra snow spaces, but also you're gonna lose parking when you have a winter like this. Regardless what you have in the plan, it's never all available. So we just said, why don't we put these bank parkings in, because the land's not getting utilized, number one. And two, I just thought it would be a nice place to have extra, especially down here at the clubhouse. Yes, we've got a parking lot here, but summertime, you know, one thing that we I think we do very well at one of our communities, at Loso, is we have an unbelievable gym. I mean, it's basically as good as a private gym, and we've got all the comments. So I'm not going to be doing a huge community room. I will be doing a state-of-the-art gym, sauna, steam room. That, to me, is what the people scream for now. And this becomes used by a lot of the patrons here. And so that's part of the reason why we did more parking, just because this could get filled up here.
Building number 1 on the townhomes. Help me out with the first building there. Where's the driveway? Is it that kick out?
I think this little thing with job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
Right?
Yeah, no, you got a couple of those on there. You need to look at that.
I can't deny it. We're only giving them dirt roads.
Yeah, you better do a real good job.
Yeah. Man, I don't think so.
This one on 2.
Yeah, you got that same issue there too, yeah, so you might want to just look at that, yeah.
Overall, this is single family, for the board's perspective, does that look pretty close as far as there anything that jumps out? Because I know it hasn't changed a lot. I know this has taken most of our attention, but I just don't want to go by the way.
Got to give some time to look at it, but yeah, I would say that it's.
I think my only concern with the single family is the straggler to the north and east. That one.
That one,
Yeah.
and then
Well, this is just a piece of land that we have with it, and they got access from Hunter. It's right next to the field. What was the other one you said?
That was the only one I had for in the single family.
oh, in the single, yeah, that's the only one in the single family. There was a question about the lot on the townhomes on the bottom southwest corner there.
Yeah.
The one, the straggler right there. Nope, west, other way.
Where's west, this way?
That way, yep. That one, all the way to the bottom.
Right there.
No.
By the cell
On the
tower.
Yeah, on the town side. Yep, that's that one. It seems to be out on its own island too. But we can live with it. It's just there's a few little spotty, things that are there. I mean, they might change, like you said, once you get into the stormwater. This whole thing's gonna, there could be things that are gonna switch here. So.
And do I dare ask about a jurisdiction determination? Have you done that? Have you applied for it? Or have you had a biologist out there, whether or not, like for wetlands?
There's nothing on the map there's no mapper for us to even look at.
I know, but New York State doesn't care. DEC doesn't care about their mapper anymore.
This whole thing's been completely farmed. I mean,
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's okay. But
They'll find them.
What would make us even look if there's nothing on the mapper showing it?
Those are wonderful questions to ask New York State DEC, because everybody's asked those questions at New York State DEC. Because they are now, this board has, you heard that all through the Harbor Heights one though, the JD.
They're changing their regulations, they're changing
They
their.
all changed from January.
JD, yeah.
the quicker you get in front of the DEC, the better off you're gonna be. Because you would hate to get too far down the path and all of a sudden they go.
Are we on the same inventory as far as single-family homes as the last plan? Do you
Yeah,
recall?
I don't think it's changed in it.
I know we were around 90, I don't remember the exact number.
I was talking today, I might try to get one more down here, go to 80s, and these are 90s. Maybe you could go to 80s and get one more, but other than that, I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, you got 80s across the street, I saw.
Yeah.
There's people here from the Comstock track, and I just want to point out, there's only one lot that would exit through the Comstock track.
Yeah, this is the piece of land. What's this one up here? Or this one?
Yeah. By Jerry
We knew there
Creek.
wasn't gonna be anything. I don't know when that changed.
Well, that was shown on the last plan.
Yeah, but I guess my question to you guys is, I mean, it's an acre lot. I mean, it's the community, why would we want to?
They don't want people driving through there.
But it's private property, why would we not entitled to that? I thought it was cabinet piece. No, it isn't.
Chair, because he's building along the waterfront, doesn't he need Canal Corp authority to approve it? Because I know that some areas along the Seneca River, they take ownership over that.
Another good question for the Canal Corp. I don't have an answer to that one. I don't, just things I don't.
Nice darkness, really.
Sorry.
Well, it's only stuff that could bite you in the butt later, I tell you.
It's check on the box, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, stuff that will bite you, so. All right, well, seems like there, you got some direction here.
Yeah, we'll, our goal is.
You got some work to do.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it lapsed, like you said, so we'll update the stuff and get it back to you.
Yeah, try to get it, like I said, try to get it all in one package, so we have all the information and we can do our due diligence, so. Thank you. All right, Chair entertain a motion to close the March 10, 2026 zoning and planning board meeting. Hearing first and second, any comments? Hearing no comments, all those in favor? Against? Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.